You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Oh, we do have a new caller, so that's great. Outside of the new caller, I think what we're going to do, because I have 71 calls right now, which obviously I compounded that problem by not getting them done in time yesterday. But we're going to start going from newest backward, and eventually we'll just end up having, probably having to skip some. But because news broke and because we're so far behind, and there's so many calls, which I appreciate, and please keep them coming, it is what it is. So, as always, if your call ends up getting skipped, just go ahead and get it in there. All right, new caller, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan, in Texas. Hope you're doing well, my man. All this talk about Matt LaFleur and stuff, it occurs to me, it's quite possible that nobody else is willing to pay Matt LaFleur what he's wanting either. So, you're saying that Packers should just sign him. I say let him ride on his current contract. Tell him, look, you're on a PIP, buddy. You want a contract extension, you better do better next season. Otherwise, you're out of here.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, and I figure at this stage, with all the other coaches gone, hey, if he had better prospects, maybe he'd already be gone. So, have a good one, man. Talk to you later.
There is a part two. Obviously, we already know the news that he did end up getting re-signed. Certainly would have been an option if he was being completely unreasonable with the price, and by unreasonable, like let's say he wanted more than $20 million and nobody's going to pay him more than 15 or something. You know what I mean? That may be the only recourse. It is a super dangerous thing, though, if you've already determined that he is going to be your guy, and you'd have to be very sure that nobody is going to give him the money that he wants. Some of these teams are absolutely desperate, but we don't have to wonder about that anymore. Rich, part 2.
Hey, Ryan, Rich in Texas again. Just a final thought. I'm glad you're finally out on Matt LaFleur as a head coach. I've been out on him since he let Rodgers treat him like a B word his first season. And, much as the press loves him, loves to fawn over him, this, that, and the third, as you pointed out, that's history. And you ran the analysis the other day. You think the other owners and haven't run the same analysis and looked at it and going, yeah, he ain't worth paying him like a top coach without proving it. So, I hope he gets fired personally, although at this point, who the heck would we hire? But so maybe let him ride for another year. But I kind of wish we wouldn't. I wish we'd just sack him. But anyway, that's my take. Have a good one, bro.
Well, I appreciate the call, dude. Hope you continue to call in. Look, I think obviously he is going to be our head coach, and I will get behind him and get excited about the positives of Matt LaFleur and whatnot. I know negative fans don't like that, and they want me to just piss and moan all the time. If something bad happens, I'll say it, but it's not generally my stance that I'm just going to come on here and rag on him 24/7. With that said, though, all this other stuff is kind of out the window. It's kind of like what I said with Gutekunst, which I haven't really analyzed that yet. We've had a lot going on here with all this stuff, and we got to start looking at defensive coordinator. We got to see which coaches. I haven't looked. I just got home, so I don't think anything big happened, but see which coaches stay, which coaches go. That I would assume that's something that's going to happen very, very soon. We're very much in the swing of this cycle of hiring and whatnot. So the longer this goes, the more I'm thinking we're keeping, outside of the defensive staff, we're keeping all the offensive staff and all the special teams staff. But we'll see how that goes. What the heck was I saying now? So all that previous stuff is out the window. Not that it doesn't get added to your legacy. Congratulations on all the great things you did. But in terms of my assessment of what you are now, I can only go based off of what you are now and have done recently. And recently it didn't go well. This past year did not go well. And if this year doesn't go well, that's 2 years in a row. And I believe you have a very good roster. Again, whenever the team doesn't do well, you have to say, well, is it the GM or is it the coach? It has to be one or the other. Either the GM has got you the wrong players that are not good players, or the coach is not putting your good players in a position to succeed, or it could be both. But, again, the fact of the matter is, I don't know how you can make an argument against the GM here. Not saying in general, but in terms of it was impossible for you to do better. You had a better roster than the year before when you did better than this. We had a significantly better team, and you had a quarterback for half a year, and you didn't have Micah Parsons at all. I have no earthly idea what could have made this year worse than last year. That is 25 compared to 24. So, look, anomalies happen, weird things happen. But, enough is enough. We can't do 2 years in a row. I mean, if we miss the playoffs, or if we, have another 9-win season where we get into the wild card and get bounced right away as though we don't belong, and if we can't handle ourselves against division rivals and whatnot, especially division rivals that are not super great, it is what it is, man. And I know everyone's going to feel all like, oh, well, we're locked in now. Not really. These contracts can be worked out of, you know what I mean? It's happened before. Somebody gets fired, immediately after an extension. So, I'm sure Matt LaFleur feels some sense of security in that there's going to be a buyout price and all this stuff. He's going to make a ton of money if he does get fired. But, he still has to prove everything. And I don't really have a reason to believe that he can't, especially since I think the defense was the much bigger issue down the stretch than the offense. And, when you factor that and the offensive line, you get an improved offensive line and a better performing defense, and I think this team can be fine. And then we're just back to the question of, can we perform in the postseason, which is its own weird kind of question that is hard to answer. But we'll see how she goes.
Hey, yo, what's up?
Yo.
Richie Benny. About to take a shower, man. I would have called last night about the LaFleur thing, but, I didn't really care to call.
Okay.
My thoughts on it is, I guess we kind of had to sign him back. I didn't see a good reason to. Again, I get that there was nothing out there, but sometimes it's just better to start over, man. But, at this point, I think it's okay. But the only thing, it's only okay if they force his hand, like Goody or somebody, policy, forces LaFleur's hand, says, dude, you got to change this coaching staff, man. Just something's got to change. Or I don't know, maybe it's Goody's fault. And maybe Ed Policy's like, bro, listen, you freaking suck, dude. You are getting these freaking pansy players who have terrible, they're just happy to be here. You need to get guys that want to win Super Bowls and beat ass every single Sunday. And so, but just something's got to change. And Goody cannot screw up on this next draft because we don't have any first-round pick. He has to bust ass to get great second through fifth round picks, guys that are going to make an impact. And one guy that I've really been looking at is D'Angelo Pons from Indiana. I know his size isn't the greatest, but that dude is a demon. And even some of the Indiana O-line, dude. The Coogan guy, I like him. I just like the Indiana O-line. It's just like the classic Midwest white boy, just cornbread fed, beasts, that can just block. But, I just think something has to change. They've got to come up with a philosophy, this is what we're going to do, and execute it, man. And as far as the Rich Bisaccia thing, I don't really care, man. But he should be fired for all the stupidity. I mean, for paying him that much and for what happens, that shouldn't happen. So figure out something there and just get better coaches, man. But Hafley's more than likely gone. So that sucks. So hopefully the next guy we bring in is better than Hafley. And hopefully Micah patches up the crap like he did last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the defensive coordinator, I mean, I hope you did too. I certainly got a little excited about a couple of those prospects. I think there's some pretty good prospects, pretty good players, coaches that are out there right now. And there's obviously additional guys. I mean, that's the full list based on, I think, 3 teams: Washington, the Jets, and Dallas. And the Giants, I guess. So there's 4. But I would assume there's other names out there as well as far as prominent guys. Again, I know Packer fans are really wanting Al Harris added to the list. But like I said, I mean, pretty much regardless, you tell me what you want, and I'll tell you who the coach is. They're out there in that cycle for defense. It doesn't mean they're going to be good, but it's not like the head coaching thing where it's like, I don't know that there is that, like, Ben Johnson type of guy where it's, offensive genius and, leader type of guy, whatever. So we will see. I got a bad feeling about Bisaccia. I think he stays, and I don't know. I mean, the constant refrain is like, well, it's not his fault. And of course it freaking is. I mean, give me a break. I mean, again, the only thing I see from, people that are sticking up for the coaches, and this includes the players, is basically this idea that, like, the coaches don't do anything. Like, well, they told us what to do and we just didn't execute. Yeah, I know that, bro. I know that. That's not really the point. It's the fact that you never execute. That's a problem. Okay? Somebody's got to fix that problem, and he hasn't been able to fix that problem. It's kind of the same point I made about Matt LaFleur, honestly, but we're past that. Bisaccia is just, save your freaking pennies, dude. Go find anybody. Who gives a crap? Just don't pay him that much money. It's useless.
What's going on, Omar the Firefighter? How y'all doing? I was calling. Funny is, I was mad. I won't mad, but I had a call. I guess they got cut because I know you didn't play no calls during the game, which is completely understandable. I 100% agree. But I think I called with a minute left in the game, and then I got mine skipped. And I was like, oh, man, the game was over. But anyway, it's all good. They got my second call played. But I was looking stuff up, and my mind for people who we should cut to save some money, I'm like, cut Banks, because he basically was not worth the contract, and just let him go. And then keep, Senator Jenkins and basically just move him back to guard, and we could draft a center, because you can get a starting center in the third, fourth round. Matter of fact, the number 1 center we probably can get in the third or fourth round because he tore his ACL. So it's kind of like he's supposed to be like Creed Humphreys. Oh, I forgot his name. You probably could look it up after the call. But he basically was getting compared to Creed Humphreys, who we missed. Not missed, but we didn't draft when we should have. But he tore his ACL, so it's kind of like he wouldn't be able to play till the middle of the season. So I would probably still draft him and then draft another center or guard, in the 6th round or some shit like that. Oh, excuse my names. That's what I would do. And, because he might not be great next year, but after that he should be, on point. But anyway, back to the cap savings. I looked, and it'll be $20 million in dead cap, so we'll only save $4.6 million, which is not a lot of money. I'm like, dang, but he played so bad. I'm like, F it, I'll take it. Just give me that $4.6 million, because he was terrible, and that way we don't have to pay no dead cap for 2027-28. But it does look like we're going to cut Jenkins because we saved $20 million for cutting him. And we only get like a 4.8 dead cap. So saving $20 million when we 11 over the cap is crazy. So I think Jenkins going to have to be go unless he do like a restructure, which I'm sure he probably won't. So that's sad. Then you got Rashawn Gary, we can cut and save 11 mil. So he's probably gone too. So I kind of wanted to keep them too, but we ain't got no option, you know. We just have to sign like a free agent, like an average free agent pass rusher, and like just a center, somebody to play for a year. But anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we have to have a team, you know, enough bodies to be able to put on the field. And I know we always like to think, well, you know, just cut him and then go get a center. The Packers are probably going to want to wait and see how the draft goes first because they don't want to go into it saying, you know, we don't have enough centers and so we have to draft somebody. Otherwise, we're screwed. So that would probably be a wait and see. Let's see how free agency goes. Let's see how the draft goes. And then if we feel comfortable enough, then we'll make a move. But I don't think they would preemptively do that just because, again, they want to try to stick to their best player available thing and let the board fall to them and not feel pressure to do something they don't want to do because they're, you know, screwed. So there's a lot of talk about, you know, well, here's 7 guys and all of them are gone. I don't know, man. We gotta somebody's got to stay. We you know, there's only so many guys you can draft, and you can't just draft, you know, what are 6, 7 picks or however many we have, and it's like you all have to start because you're directly replacing somebody we cut. We'll have to see. I think it's going to be some combination of, you know, restructuring some guys, pay cuts for some guys, cuts for some guys. We'll see what we can do with free agency and the draft to kind of balance that out. But, you know, we got to see. We got to see how it goes. And I'm guessing the Packers don't even know because they got to work through negotiations for different guys and see what they can do. If they can, you know, if they can work out some kind of a restructure or a reduction for some people, that may mean something different than if they can't and then they have to get rid of them. That may free up a little bit extra money and then we don't need to, you know, get rid of somebody else. I don't know. Again, I haven't fully delved into that other than when we did a podcast where I kind of just talked about who the people were and where we're standing with it.
Yo, it's Jared, the Uber driver from Texas.
Yo.
What do we need to stop? Hey, so did you hear about Bo Nix breaking a bone and can't play for the rest of the season, aka the playoffs? Do you think that they'll pick up Aaron Rodgers? That'd be wild. Go back, go. Wild. Bye.
That'd be crazy. Is that how does that work? Is that a thing? Would he have to officially leave the Steelers and then get picked up? I don't know. That is a terrible freaking thing, by the way. I mean, it was I remember seeing that news and I'm like, I watched that game. I don't remember him getting carted off or anything. I mean, I was kind of half paying attention, but I don't remember him not playing or whatever. And then that one stupid decision right at the very end of the game. I think it was even in overtime. I don't remember exactly how that game ended, but they just wanted to kick a field goal and they ran Bo Nix. And he ended up losing yards on it. And it was like, well, shoot, that didn't work. And we still got to get more yards for this field goal. And I think shortly after, I think he continued playing after that. I mean, he hopped up from that, no problem, and walked like there was no issue. But they had mentioned that they thought that was the play. And I don't know what happened. I guess just some serious lingering pain, probably swelled up like crazy. And they said he broke his freaking ankle. How stupid do you feel if you're in overtime, this game is basically over, and you decide, let's take our quarterback and put him on a freaking run play, and that basically ended your whole season? Holy crap. That's definitely, I mean, I couldn't care less about the Broncos, but I mean, I'm just thinking from a fan's perspective. I mean, you're feeling good. You're playing well. You just came through on this victory. It's like, holy crap, we could actually do it. We can get back to the Super Bowl, all that. Game's over, you're celebrating, and all of a sudden you get news that your quarterback broke his ankle. And you don't have Malik Willis to carry you through. Like you're what do they have, like Stidham or something? Your season is done. It's over. You will not win the Super Bowl this year. Just brutal. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with Bill from South Carolina.
Hey, Ryan. This is Bill in South Carolina.
Howdy.
Just heard that we extended Matt and Goody. Not what I would have done, but I don't have to deal with finding replacements or dealing with the results of that. So I guess they're a known quantity and a lot of experience and all that. Don't have to reinvent the wheel for Jordan. So we just have to go with that and just hope and keep our fingers crossed that Matt can get us over that hump and get us to the Super Bowl and get us another Lombardi. And we're all Packer fans, thick or thin, so we'll go ahead and go with that decision 100% and have a good off season. And just like you were saying, hopefully all the fans stick with you this whole off season so we can keep abreast of everything that's going on. And I think we got a real good good unit coming back and see what additions and some key subtractions need to be made. So, all right, Ryan, have a good one. Out.
Yeah, I appreciate your call, Bill, and I've definitely been humbled by everybody's response to this whole thing. When I saw the numbers the other day, I legitimately about had a tear come to my eye. Just means a lot to have you guys support the show like that. And I agree. I was just thinking that as you were talking, or maybe even on the last call, or no, it was your call when you said, I'm not the one that has to make these decisions. That's not my job. And I was just thinking, you're right. What is my job? I mean, I obviously have a podcast, so I give my opinion or whatever, but my job ultimately is to be a fan. That's it. That's my job. Support the team. I can do that. I'm still going to give my opinion. I'm still going to say when I think I disagree, but I think that's the problem I have with some negative fans is they hold grudges. It's not the disagreement, it's the grudges. It's not that, I didn't like that we drafted Love. It's the fact that you will root against Love for the remainder of his career. It's not, it's the grudges are what's so obnoxious. Okay, you've made your point known. We get it. I understand. But you don't have to point out every single time something goes wrong that Brian Gutekunst is the biggest pile of crap in the history of the world. Right? Especially when you're just making stuff up and being dishonest in your analysis. I get it. I know you don't like him. That's fine. Can we frickin' move on? It's been how many? It's been like 7-8 years now. You guys can hold a grudge like nobody else. It's frickin' crazy. It's a little bit crazy. We get it. Noted. I noted that you didn't like him 8 years ago. I think we can move on, right? Frickin', I know that you wanted him to draft T. Higgins. I get it. I understand you wanted T. Higgins. I heard you 7-8 years ago, okay? Shut up already.
Hey, Ryan. It's Ray from Tennessee. As of this moment, I'm calling about 10-15 minutes after the Matt LaFleur extension news came through. So since that's settled and we don't have to search for a new head coach or GM, would like to move on to other things like, something we haven't talked about in a while on the show is how trash of a GM Ryan Poles is in Chicago, and how as much as it hurts us as Packers fans to have to have witnessed what happened last Saturday night, I think it's a good thing in the long run that the Bears won, because now
not gonna fire
Ben
Poles.
Johnson and Ryan Poles are going to get, Ben Johnson's on a new contract, so he'll be fine, but Ryan Poles is probably going to get an extension, and they can only draft this bad and keep a job for so long.
Right.
And if Caleb continues to be who he's been, where he's not a very good quarterback, but there's flashes, it will fizzle out, just like Justin Fields and just like everybody else. And then the Bears are going to be continue to lock in to this perpetual cycle. Now we did have to put up with a terrible year, but I would like to talk about what the Bears' future looks like, because the Lions got good for a few years, and then all of a sudden you have to draft late, and you have to you stop having all this extra money laying around, and all of a sudden the Lions look like maybe they're not so good, and I feel like the Bears are going to be the same thing. So anyways, I'll hang up and listen. Have a good night. Go Pack, go.
Well, and even to the Lions' credit, they had some really good draft classes. Not just like the super early, Aiden Hutchinson. Nobody gives a crap about the Aiden Hutchinson pick. You'd have to be an idiot to not be able to get a hit once in a while, which the Bears almost succeeded in that. Occasionally, they did actually draft a couple picks that didn't suck early. But, I mean, the Lions even had, the year with, Gibbs, and then their linebacker, and they got St. Brown in the 4th, and they got Brian Branch. I mean, they had some incredible drafting. And they're still going down the crapper. It's very, very, very difficult. And so what do the Bears need to succeed? And there's a lot of people are going to roll there, you're so hard on the Bears, like they're actually a good team. Whatever. Credit where it's due for whatever they've been able to do. They've been mostly a dog crap team with a mediocre at best quarterback who is wildly inconsistent, wildly inaccurate, but makes some impressive plays here and again. If they can't draft, you understand they a lot of their success, first of all, is Ben Johnson. That's a large portion of it. One of the negatives here, everybody's like, it's going to get better and better and better. Not necessarily, because the league catches on to you. And then it becomes a question of, okay, you brought in your scheme, you brought in this thing, and you're the thing that everybody wants to replicate, but you're also the thing that every defense wants to shut down. And defenses are going to start figuring that out. They're going to start figuring you out. And it's going to get a lot more difficult, and it's going to get a lot more complicated. The other thing that made this team successful, insofar as it was successful, was the offensive line. They finally got an offensive line to start working. The problem is they spent $1 billion to build this offensive line with very expensive and in some cases very old players. This is not sustainable. You cannot build and you cannot maintain a team this way. You're going to at some point have to start drafting players that can fill these roles so it can be long-term. Not to mention you need to build your defense from the ground up because your defense is horrible. You have a terrible defense. And so as much as I occasionally wake up in a cold sweat thinking about the Bears being this dominant team for many years to come, which may happen, you never know, polls could go on a heater this next year around and just have one of those great draft classes. At the end of the day, they have what? Oh, they got their quarterback looks good. Okay, their quarterback is not even a top 10 quarterback. We can't get it done with Love, and Love's a better quarterback, right? And we have way better defensive pieces. I won't say a better defense because I don't know what our defense is. Certainly wasn't super great this past year, but I know our defense should be a top 5 defense given the people on it. Our offense should be a top 5 offense and has been under Matt LaFleur with Jordan Love and with the pieces we have. Obviously, health is a major factor, but give me Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, the emergence of Golden, Reed, and an offensive line that is slightly less dog crap. And yeah, I'm comfortable saying this is top 10, potentially should be top 5 offense. Obviously, other teams matter a lot in whether you're top 5 or not and how good they are. Some good offenses out there, but good Lord, man, there is no reason. And again, where are we at? And then look at the Bears. What do they have? The quarterback's not as good. Their receivers are decent, but they're not super. It's not like Cincinnati where it's, you got like 2 top 5, top 10 receivers on your team. It's not that. The running game is mostly good because of the offensive line. They don't have elite running backs. And their defense, again, is complete and utter dog crap. Okay, great. What are you going to do next year? By the way, this is one of the things we'll be doing in the offseason, is kind of dissecting the rest of the NFC North and looking at them in terms of their future prospects, and I very much look forward to that. All right, we'll take a break. We got a couple from Beer Cheese Benny. By the way, if you don't subscribe, you hate crippled people. Beer Cheese, take it away.
Hey, Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny. Listening to your episode, people talk about Darren Rizzi, whatever. Not really going to talk about that because you don't want to talk about it, and I don't really care either. But, you know, when the Packers hired Rich Bisaccia, you know, all Packer fans, we were, like, excited because, like, he was a good special teams.
Right. That's the other reason the Rizzi thing is annoying to me, is just because we got what we wanted, right? We wanted, okay, go out and spend all the money on the top guy. Stop screwing around. And we did it, and it didn't freaking work. It's like complaining, well, Gutekunst never spends money in free agency, and then we go out and spend all the money on the top free agent available, and that person is bad. I'm making up this scenario. That player is bad, and then we go back to the last time. Well, you know, 3 years ago, we wanted you to get this guy, and you didn't. So you never do it because you're so cheap. Bro, he just did it. What are you talking about?
Or whatever. And we were like, oh, it's going to be fixed. Well, then we still get these dumb penalties on every single punt and every single kick. So, I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like a discipline issue. And
yes,
I truly wonder if in practice, if anything is emphasized, man. Or if, I really start to think that we just don't have the right players on special teams. They're just stupid. They're just they're rock brains. I mean, literally, there's nothing there. They're just stupid.
It's Gutekunst's fault for drafting idiots.
Because I think it's an organizational failure, like, to address it. And I think it does come down to the coaching staff, like putting the right guys in the right place. But, you know, you also have to, like, have the right guys to put the guys in the right place. So, I mean, I'm starting to think it doesn't even really matter who we have there, because, you know, it starts at the top. You know, you've got to figure out who you want to put where, and you have to realize who has the talent. Like, when Josh Jacobs went out there in that game, I mean, dude, he clearly was pretty good, actually, at returning. I mean, he fumbled that one, and he has a fumble problem, I think. I was listening to John Meerdink. He was going over it and how often he fumbles. And I wanted to get to Jacobs because, you know, John Meerdink was saying, in his opinion, he would cut Jacobs because he's regressing. And I know what you're going to say, it's because of the O-line, but, I mean, he's getting older, and at running back, I think we really need to address this because, you know, if Marshawn Lloyd can stay healthy, I think that's a good pickup, but that's a big if, you know. So I wonder if in this draft, if we can pick up like a second, third, fourth round running back that will be pretty good. And, you know, I'm going to call back here because I'm going to run out of time here.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible he's regressing. It's very hard to know when the offensive line can't block. I mean, you know, it's kind of like it's a thing you can't prove because I'd need to see a better offensive line and then see him fail behind that better offensive line. I don't really know if he's regressing or what. And then Marshawn Lloyd, it's not even just a matter of the fact that he can't stay healthy. It's the fact that I don't even know if he's good at football. No idea. We haven't really seen him play at all. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Packers to draft a running back. Again, because number one, you don't just draft your biggest needs. That's not how the draft works. This is something I'm going to be hammering 1,000 times in the offseason because the way everybody does mock drafts and the way everybody thinks that drafts work, and this is, you can tell, again, I have, if you go over to my Facebook group, You post any mock draft in there, and people are just going to mock you. It doesn't matter what it is. I said mock draft people are the absolute worst. But you do whatever, and it's, we don't need that. We don't. So what, bro? Find me the one time that, the Packers first drafted their biggest need, and then in the second round, their second biggest need, in the third round, their third biggest need, in the fourth round, their fourth biggest need. That's not how the draft works. So when I say that they could draft a running back, it doesn't necessarily even mean that it's going to be the biggest need. But it's also not something that they're going to avoid, because I do think that that's a thing. They're not as big of purists as I think we would like them to be. In fact, I'd kind of like to dig into that a little bit, because part of me looks at it and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I think they are kind of a need-based drafting team to some degree. Number one, we know that they're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. I mean, they don't have a first-round pick, but I'm just saying they're not going to do that. And I think very rarely, I don't know of any instance where you look at it and they're not mostly drafting what we need the most. You have a need, and that's the one thing that they'll draft like 3 times or something. So I think need does play into it. And I've talked about how I think that happens anyways, where it ends up being kind of both, because you draft based on tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And so you'll have like 5-6 guys on a tier, and you pick the position of need from that tier is probably how that most likely ends up happening. But the point is, I don't think running back is one that they would skip. I also don't think it's necessarily at the top of their list, but we'll have to see. It's, again, that's what the offseason is for, is really taking all of our assumptions and getting rid of them. And I think Josh Jacobs is one of those guys where probably are not spending a lot of time, probably enough time talking about, because it I don't know, it doesn't strike me off the top as one of our biggest issues, but who's to say, man? Everybody hits a wall at some point. And running backs, it's typically younger, and he's definitely a guy that's taken some abuse over the years. Maybe. I'll give you a maybe. Beer cheese part 2.
Hey Ryan. So anyways, Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks, I don't see a reason why you would get rid of them. Going through training camp and all that, and then hopefully Marshawn Lloyd kind of makes his way through. I think Brooks is an odd man out, maybe. Emmanuel Wilson's good backup, but if you did cut Jacobs, there's no real plan there. So I don't really necessarily agree with that, what John said. His cap hit would be more letting him go after next year. But I think we just need a better power running game, and that starts with the O-line for sure. You have to configure that correctly.
Yeah.
Haven't looked into the running backs for this class. I don't know if they're any good, and I don't know if any ones that will fit our game plan will fall to us, in that 2nd through 7th or whatever. But, you've seen throughout the NFL, a lot of these teams are getting some pretty solid running backs in these rounds,
Yeah.
So I'm not that worried about it, and I think that we could get one. Another thing we have to think about is tight end, right? Obviously, Tucker Kraft, he's our dog, man. And hopefully this injury doesn't hinder him. But what I'm thinking is Musgrave, I don't know if they hold on to him. We got to have another backup, man. I did kind of like Wiley. We need a guy that can block, certainly. And we need a guy that can catch the ball and get his yards. I got to look into this. I think I'm going to today, honestly. Pull up the computer, kind of look into the draft class. I'd like to get another tight end. I think that'll be a good move, but really in this draft, I don't know when you're going to start looking into all this stuff. Maybe it's easier when the season comes down, is finished and we get the true draft order. I don't know if you really care about that at all. I know. I think we're locked in, aren't we? Like we're in like the 20-something spot. So or not the 20-something. I think we're locked in for the 52nd pick. 56. I don't remember. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to look at it today and see what we got. But we got to get the trenches right. I think we need corners badly. We need competition. I don't mind bringing Diggs back. I don't know what the contract's going to look like, but, I mean, I at this point, I see what do we have to lose. I mean, Nixon's a bum. I would really just rather get rid of him. I accomplished all my goals. Come on, man. Your goals are crappy, dude.
They're going to have to address the culture issue. And I know we're kind of getting back to coaching there, but, you know, part of the issue is if we just try to throw everybody out and replace everybody that doesn't kind of fit that, you know, like you talked about the run game. The run game has to improve on the offensive line, but I genuinely believe that is a symptom of a bigger problem. And you can see it when, you know, again, Jordan gets his head shoved into the ground and nobody does anything about it. They don't have that killer instinct. And you watch Keyshawn jump out of the way to avoid contact at the goal line. You know, we got to get somebody that can really hammer that into people. And, you know, similarly, I guess what I'm driving at here is some of the help needs to be external and can be external. I think a lot of the help needs to be internal. We need to have an attitude change with these players. We need to have a more aggressive, you know, I mean, we have guys that are that way. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Micah Parsons is that way. I don't know what it's going to take to get everybody else on board. I feel like every year we've got like the leaders at the end of the year talking down to the rest of the team. And I guess some people just don't listen. And maybe we just get rid of them. I don't know. Maybe that is sort of a, you know, we move on from guys like Keyshawn, but we can't replace the entire offensive line. On some level, we got to get somebody in there. And again, a new offensive line coach wouldn't hurt. I can't imagine a guy with the last name Butkus can't drive a team to be more aggressive. But I mean, there needs to be somebody that's just a freaking bearded up, beer gut, gravelly voiced, you know, if anyone touches your quarterback, you frickin' rip his head off. I don't give a, I mean, if Matt LaFleur comes down on you for a penalty, I'll defend you. I will jump in the way of that. You have to do that. I mean, go get David Bakhtiari, go get, you know, Josh Sitton, go get any of these guys and put them in that locker room and let them have a conversation with you about what is expected of you. I mean, this is 101 stuff. Nobody touches your quarterback. That is your entire job, is to protect your quarterback. Anyone, I mean, you got Bears players throwing their helmet into the side of your quarterback's head. You need to pick that frickin' guy up and body slam him and stomp his frickin' throat. He repeatedly is battering your frickin' quarterback, dude. I mean, again, obviously it's draft season. We're going to talk about the draft and all that stuff, but I mean, we can't just keep running away from this and just finding new people. Somebody's got to frickin' man up. You got to improve. You got to get better. And this offensive line especially has got to get better. There has to be some frickin' passion at some point, some aggression. I don't know. But also to your point about tight ends and whatnot, absolutely. The main focus is going to be on, and I know I can already hear, we don't need a tight end. We don't. Stop it. Okay. The main focus is going to be on the main priorities: offensive line, defensive line, cornerback, presumably. But we're going to look at everything. Potentially wide receiver. Again, not top end, but if you lose Wicks and Dobbs. We couldn't hurt to look at some mid to late round receivers, potentially. Tight end, obviously, is something to consider. No, we don't need a top end guy. Do we need some depth? Could we possibly use a new number 2? Absolutely. Running back, like you said, 100%. It's worth looking at. Do we need, is it an immediate priority? No, it's not, but still, it's worth looking at and getting an idea, and also just kind of asking the question, like, what do we need? Do we need a number 1, number 2, number 3? Is it just depth? Is it a starter? Is it what style? Do we want another Musgrave? Do we want a Wiley? Do we want this, that, or the other for each position? Kind of going through all that stuff. So we're getting there. we're getting there. There's a lot of coaching stuff going on that we got to rip through, and there's really no rush. We're going to be doing so much draft content. I know some people are chomping at the bit to get after it. We will get there. But again, there's a lot of coaching things to get through. I'll try to throw a couple little dribs and drabs out there. Maybe we'll do a mock draft thing for tomorrow. We got more coaching stuff to do. And obviously there's the Bears, but I'm not going to have hopefully laughing at the enemy. Maybe we'll save that for Tuesday, assuming the Bears lose, because I'm going to do a live stream of that game. I'm going to have to get that rocking pretty soon here. Actually, the Patriots game is going to be on any minute here. Okay, I think we took all the breaks already, so let's just go with Mr. RLS.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? It's RLS. Just wanted to call and check in on this Matt LaFleur situation. You know, the more time that goes by and the more, insider updates that we get, the more I'm kind of thinking we should just keep LaFleur. That more I want to keep LaFleur. And I was big on he's got to go. He's got to go. He's not the guy. And a large part of me still feels that way. But I would rather keep LaFleur and take a chance that he figures it out than I trust policy and Goody right now making making the decision to go a different route. The way they're handling this doesn't make me feel very confident in their ability to find a new coach. One, I don't think the current coaching options are that great, right? Harbaugh is a definite no in my opinion, where I think the Packers might actually be considering him, which is another reason which makes me not comfortable with them. That makes me feel confident with their ability to make this decision, because if they're even considering Harbaugh, they've lost their damn minds. The only person that I would feel comfortable if they hired right now, honestly, is Clint Kubiak. If they said, hey, Clint Kubiak is coming in here and he's going to bring his offensive system, and, we're going to bring in Brian Flores or some other experienced, defensive coordinator, then I'd be all for it. Like, all right, you know what? That's cool. Sounds like you got a plan. But the way they're handling this right now, right, it makes me feel like the people that they have their eye on aren't available right now. So it's like, hey, Matt, let's give you a 2-year deal, right? See how you do. Because in 2 years, we think the people that we really want, that we really have our eye on, may be available then. And if that is what's going on, of course Matt's going to say no. Like, why would he? The way they're handling this is making me support Matt even more, because if it's one thing that I value in business is leverage. And if you have leverage, right, and you have merit, right, then you have a case. And as much as I don't like the way Matt handles things as far as the leadership role and, corralling this team to overcome adversity, he's very good in just about every other area. And he's a 65% winning coach, right? He's gotten his team to the playoffs for all years except for one under his tenure. These things matter, especially when you compare him to a Harbaugh and other coaches that just don't measure up to his record. So if I was Matt, if Ben Johnson's getting whatever he's getting, 12, 15 million, Harbaugh got 20, you better believe I'm not walking away with anything less than 15 million in, at least 4 years. At least 4 years on top.
Part 2.
Wait a minute, Munster got me. But so the way they're handling the situation is putting me more and more in Matt's camp. Like I said, I would rather the Packers just stay put. Let Matt stay. Give him a freaking extension, and we'll ride this out and see where it goes. And if he doesn't, turn it around or doesn't, get us closer to the promised land, you got to fire him, then you got to fire him, and pay the offset. Many other teams deal with it. And I know the Packers hate to do stuff like that, but you're in a position right now where you got to realize the more this drags on, he's got all the leverage. And I think the reason why we're not hearing about hires is because everybody's watching the Packers. People want Matt. I mean, shit, it's making me think that, man, maybe I should chill out. Maybe he's not as bad as I think. Maybe he can turn it around. But it's crazy that no one's getting hired right now. I think every team out there is looking at the Packers as like, well, what are you going to do? Hell, I mean, Policy and Goody could be making phone calls right now for all we know. But just to wrap this up, bring it all to a conclusion. The way the Packers are handling this does not give me the trust and confidence that they know what they're doing. And I would rather just keep Matt, right? The way they're handling this is making me want to keep Matt. And if their plan is to bring in another retread like Harbaugh or somebody else who's not even measuring up to Matt LaFleur, right? Then that's up. Just stay where you're at. And more and more this goes on, the more and more I look around at who's available, the more I'm thinking, like, you know what? Sign Matt, give him what he wants, give him another year or two. Things get worse, or things stay status quo. Hey, find somebody else, pay the offset. This is part of business. Stop handling things like this. Them's my thoughts, man. But I don't like it. I do not like it. I think it's a bad look for policy. You just come on deck, and this is how things are going. You can't have this, man. You cannot have this. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, and it was later reported. Well, I shouldn't say it was later reported. I mean, it was. I think if you look at that article from Tom Silverstein, it never said that it was like this is the way that it is. It was kind of an agent or whatever it was kind of speculating. That doesn't mean that it wasn't that way. I mean, if you're the team, how would you spin it? How would you run to the media and tell them? Of course you're going to say we never had an interest in anybody else. But to be fair, I mean, the idea that that's definitely what was happening, we don't know. We don't know that. And so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they always believed in Matt. And I know some people wouldn't like that because it's, they feel like that proves that they don't have good judgment. But again, it's inexcusable to not be decisive here. And according to the team and what they relayed to the media, they never considered Harbaugh. They never liked anybody. It was always Matt. And it was just a matter of we just got to get the price figured out. Fair enough. We'll never know, right? I know what's been reported, but again, it's reported from who? The team. Well, what else is the team going to say? You think the team's going to go run to Ian Rappaport and be like, yeah, we were on the fence, but we thought, screw it. Let's just give it to Matt. I don't know what else to do. Freaking, I want to go golfing, like this. So, again, let you do whatever you want, but I'm going to assume that what's being reported is the reality, and they were decisive from the beginning. They wanted Matt, and we'll see how that pans out.
This is Jared Trader, the Uber driver from Texas, and you were reading someone from Adam Schefter. I think I'm days behind still on the podcast, but I'm catching up. Don't you worry. Listen to all the ads. Help you out there.
Appreciate it.
But Adam Schefter, he sounded like the kid in class. I mean, I did this sometimes. Whenever, you're only a few words behind on like the word count for your project, and like you just split up don't to do not. And so,
right.
It sounds like the kid that just like always made every single sentence as long as possible, all the words as long as possible, or as separate as possible, I guess. I just wanted to add that anecdote. Don't have much to say about him. He reports stuff. My wife keeps telling me that like she keeps seeing things posted that saying Aaron Rodgers is signing a day contract to retire as a Packer. I'm just like, look, I would have seen some updates about that if that were true.
She's seeing that on Facebook.
But could happen. I don't think he's going to retire with an interception in the playoffs as his last one, pick 6 especially. But, maybe he will. Anyways, go Pack, go.
Look, I am, I've said this before, I'm a millennial. I was one of the, first people on Facebook back when you needed to be in college. And I was in college at the time. You needed a EDU email address just to get on Facebook. And so I've always been, up until recently, where I've just pretty much entirely switched over to Twitter. I get it. The Facebook thing. I remember being not too long ago offended that it was considered old people stuff and nobody, except old people use it. Shut up, dude. Freaking old. I'm 35 years old or whatever. But I will say this about Facebook. Don't ever, ever, ever believe anything on Facebook. Ever. Every time I go on there, it is the dumbest pile of slop in the world. There's always people just putting together these banners that are like, Aaron Rodgers is now president of Venezuela, or just like the most ridiculous crap ever. And then, you run to the comment section or whatever, just expecting people to be like, what are you talking about, stupid? Like, this is nonsense. And it's just, there's like 50,000 hearts and likes and all this stuff with comments. This is wonderful. I'm so happy for him. This is so great. It's about time. He's always been a Packer. Guys, it's not real. God. Like, that happens a little bit on X, Twitter, or whatever, but it's nowhere near that extent. It's crazy. They gotta get that figured out, man, because it's insane how much traction just completely random fake garbage circulates on Facebook.
What's up, Ryan? Kyle from Madison. I'm just driving in what appears to be giant ice balls.
Oh, all right.
It's not hail. It's not snow. It's ice
Just
balls.
ice balls. All right.
Super fun. No, I was just
Like
thinking about.
Balls, but
I've got a couple friends that are Bears fans, and I mean, rightfully so. They were gleeful with the result of last weekend's game. I 100% grant them that. And no doubt it was very cathartic for them after so much hopelessness. But I've been trying to explain to him, like, that it's not just cope. Like, of course I would love to just keep the Bears down my whole life, but it's not going to happen, right? Like, just like they were up in the 80s and we were up in the 90s, 2000. Actually, we've been up really since then. But there's an ebb and flow.
I thought we'd make it a show without that.
Of this, you know what I mean? Like, we were never going to be completely. They were going to not continue to be defeated by us every single year. That was going to end, and there was going to be some counter punches, or at least you would have imagined. Now, I would have thought they would have come a lot sooner, but I feel like my friends that are Bears fans I think they're a little bit upset that I'm not more dismayed after the dust has settled.
Yeah.
And I guess the way I explained it is just the truth. And that is, look, it sucks to collapse like that. And I find it really pretty cool, from their point of view, what the Bears were able to do by taking advantage of it. Certainly you've got an all-time throw for the Caleb Williams package on fourth down. But, this wasn't a Super Bowl year, not with the injuries we had. And the main thing is, like, I think they were hoping I would feel that this is like the flip. Like, now it's the Bears world and the Packers are done.
I mean, that's legitimately how they feel. And you're right. They want us to just acknowledge it. Like, we are now the top team in the North, and the Packers are just this garbage. Like, it's over. And they were talking about that at the beginning of the, you better win a Super Bowl because this is it. This is your year. This is your window. This is your chance. You better win it all now. And I've been saying since the beginning, like, what are you talking about? Like, is Micah and Jordan not going to be here next year? I don't know what you're even saying.
And this represents a changing of the guard.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't feel that way. Like, I still think we have more talent than you. And next year we're going to bring back a roster with more talent than you.
Right.
And I still honestly like our coach better than theirs, even if he does dumb stuff. I thought Johnson got his ass whooped out there.
Bro, he looked like an idiot. Like, listen, again, he does a good job of getting people open, and I will continue saying that. And he obviously does a good job of running a roster and making them, motivated or whatever. But these freaking idiot trick plays, man, I just think Detroit and Ben Johnson and that roided out jag-off in Detroit, their obsession with trick plays and going for it on fourth and doing, like, you guys are so stupid. Like, maybe that level of aggression is what, like, bleeds through into the locker room and makes the team so aggressive, and it's worth it to be such an idiot because you get that result. I don't know what it is, but it's just aggression for the sake of aggression with no, like, just thinking. Like, you're so stupid. I just hate you because you're so stupid. And it made me even angrier that they ended up winning because it's like, you don't deserve this. You coached like garbage. You played like garbage. The quarterback looked like garbage. Everybody was garbage this whole game. They did not deserve to win, and they did.
Makes it more frustrating that we didn't win, but I didn't think he outcoached LaFleur. No. I didn't see that. Maybe Dennis Allen had something to say about it, but I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot more back and forth in this saga, I feel.
Yeah.
The Bears to think okay, well, that settles it. We're done. No. Because it's going to be even more delicious when you think you're ascending next year and we destroy your dreams next year as well. So I just wanted to bring that up because I honestly believe that. And
3 minutes got him. Yeah, I not only think we're better, I genuinely think the Lions are better. The Lions are hitting a rough patch and whatnot, but I mean, you look at the total package here with the players, with the roster and everything. I still think in my mind the Bears are the third best team. I know what their record says. I get that. They don't play good football. They just don't. And you look at the advanced analytics and whatnot, and obviously I haven't looked all the way through. We'll let the season finish. The Lions continue to get worse. The Packers continue to get worse, and the Bears continue to get better. But I think for the most part, aside from the collapses from two of the teams in the NFC North, I just think the Bears were the third best team, and I think the stats will bear that out. They're. And I swear if they win today, I'm going to be so pissed. I know I saw Stafford is hurt and all that. Oh, come on. Don't even freaking start with this nonsense. And to be fair, even if they find a way to win, good Lord, did Seattle look good. I was so happy rooting for Seattle, not only because I hate the 49ers, but on the off chance the Bears win. I need the best team I've ever seen in my life playing the Bears so they get beat. But there's no reason the Rams shouldn't blow this freaking team out. I swear. I don't even want it to be close. I don't want a fourth quarter comeback. I want nothing. I just want death. Freaking death. Oh. All right. We're running late, but we do have to do one more call because I accidentally clicked on Randy from Minnesota. And if I don't play it, I'm going to forget to play it. So, Randy, what's up?
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy in Minnesota.
Yo.
Well, it's Friday afternoon for me. I've been kind of waiting on a phone call to hopefully see the Packers ever will make a decision on the coach, so I'm not going to get into that. I want to get into is the whole Ben Johnson Bear thing. Clayton on his program brought up a really interesting point, and I just was reading on Sports Illustrated that Ben Johnson sure has basically pissed off all the other coaches, especially the one out of the Sean McVay coaching tree, with his actions. Can you imagine during the coaches' meetings when they're all sitting around and all of a sudden into the room comes Ben Johnson and the look on their face? It's going to be, oh, geez, who called for a bitch?
I didn't expect. I was just waiting for you to finish your sentence, and then I was going to pause it to bring up a point. Oh, that caught me off guard. That was funny. I'm sorry. Yeah, he is. Say what you want about Matt LaFleur, he is popular. He has a lot of credibility. He is unbelievably respected and unbelievably well liked. Again, you look at the entire McVay-Shanahan tree, which permeates throughout. But also just the amount of coaches he's worked with. I mean, the defensive guys like Saleh and whatnot, they're like best friends. Joe Barry is like one of his closest friends. Like a lot of guys are very, very close with Matt LaFleur. And maybe Ben Johnson doesn't care or whatever, but Ben Johnson is not a part of the good old boys club. And he's been running his mouth like a jagoff since day one with his Matt LaFleur comments, and then for him to treat Matt like he did. And listen, if I was a Bears fan, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. But look, I mean, you're just putting a bigger target on your own back. And, if you think anybody's going to, not that anybody would take it easy on you, but, I mean, teams are going to be looking to make an example of you a little bit. Teams are going to take pride in embarrassing you. And, boy, would it be sweet if they embarrassed the Bears and McVay. I doubt he ever would. But if McVay did like a douchebag flyby handshake and then screamed, F the Bears in the locker room or something, that would just make me the happiest. Because again, the Bears can do whatever they want. I'm not going to sit here and be pissy about it or whatever. I mean, I would be if LaFleur, had a little bit of an edge to him about the Bears or whatever. It's all about the rivalry and it's all good stuff. But you better be ready to take some of your own medicine. I'll tell you that. Because, especially considering how high, I mean, you had the 49ers are out of it now, but that playoff race is a hornet's nest of Matt LaFleur's friends. And you're not on the right side of that freaking rivalry. So I'm really hopeful McVay can make an example of that freaking guy. And I hope that there's some kind of a comment, because I just want to see Bears fans who've been talking this whole time about, oh, grow up, it's not a big deal. I want to see them get all pissy. To lose a playoff game and then be mocked and ridiculed and whatnot, the way that the Packers were by Bears fans, which, again, that's part of it. But, that's the problem with running your mouth, is your day's coming. And when it comes, you better be ready, because the low point of your entire year is about to get a lot lower, because they're going to show you the same amount of respect you showed Matt LaFleur in that moment, and the Packers fans with your, cheese grating hats and your freaking shredded cheese bull crap, all just mocking and mocking and mocking. It's not about celebrating we won. It's about, haha, you lost. And that douchebag, scumbag behavior. I hope Matt LaFleur takes it up a little notch, and I hope some of the players, and I know some of our players do have a little bit of an edge when it comes to the Bears. I hope that's even more. Dude, F them. They're laughing in your face. I can't play. I'm not good at football. I'm not on the team, and not much I can do about it. All I can do is run my mouth and make silly songs about the Bears suck. That's about the best I can do. You guys got to get out there and punish these freaking guys. Obviously, we're talking about next year, but let's. I hope they don't forget. I really hope they don't.
But anyway, I got a feeling the Bears are going to learn what happens. There'll be no more. All right, we're up by 21 with 35 seconds left. We'll just take a kneel. No, we're going to keep pounding the ball into the end zone on you. Yep. Because your coach is a freaking moron.
I hope they'll probably pull their starters if they get up too much. But if this is like Seattle and the 49ers, and I'm not trying to get, we'll see what happens. I'll take a win, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if that happened, I would be so happy if they never took a knee. If they're going for it on fourth downs, if they're, going for, points when they don't need to. I mean, just lay the freaking wood to them and embarrass them. Because that's apparently that's how they want to play football. Cool. That's what you're going to get in return. Oops, push the wrong button.
The other thing, real quickly, the Bears are not sustainable. This whole thing is not sustainable. You use the analogy of a candle flickering or a light bulb flickering on and off. I see the Bears more like a emergency flare. They burn quick, they burn bright, they burn hot, but they burn out real quick. And so next year, when the Bears are not getting the ball dropped in their hands every other play, and Caleb has to actually play quarterback, we see it. The other players really don't like Caleb. They just put up with him because they were winning.
Right.
Then it'll be a lot different. And that's what I'm looking forward to. The rivalry is back. And I think Ben Johnson just just opened up a whole bunch of whoop ass on himself by his actions and his words. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope we get a coach here soon. Go Pack, go. Bye.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think, and that's why I even said what I said about the Lions, because the Lions are sustainable, and they proved that. I mean, maybe not the 2024 version of the Lions wasn't sustainable, but as far as being a good team, they've proved it. You know, they may never be an elite team that we need to be terrified of or whatever, but they have the components. They did the drafting. They did all the right things for a long enough period of time to at least be a good team for the next several years. The Bears haven't proved that at all. Like you said, it's all this fluky stuff where they're overperforming and they've got these fluky interceptions and these fluky fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, if you remove the absolute fluke aspects of their season, I don't think they make the playoffs. They don't belong in the playoffs. And of course, we gift them a win. They shouldn't. We embarrassed that freaking team and then collapsed. If we could have just finished, even in just the fourth quarter, if we could have just finished, we are playing in this game against Seattle, which we would have gotten blown out, no question. But the Bears would have been blown out and embarrassed, and the narrative rightly would have been they never belonged in the postseason. They were frauds. Unfortunately, they caught us when we were just completely and utterly useless. But you guys know the result. I don't. I'm genuinely. The game started. The Patriots game started. I'm genuinely hoping the Rams embarrass the Bears. It has to happen. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very, very upset. But we'll be doing a live stream of that. Hopefully, you guys will be there. I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.